Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Andrew Ruffin and today I'm here with author Julee Sung. Julie, thank you so much for being here with me today.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, now I would like to start by talking a little bit about you. Can you tell me a bit about your personal background?
Absolutely. I spent over 25 years in the working world, mostly corporate, with some stints in academia and nonprofit, and worked my way up, climbed up the ladder, lived that whole corporate track. And then a lot of life changes happened, some externally, like the pandemic, for example, and some internally, me just kind of discovering over the years of what I like and what I want to do. And that led me to veering off the corporate track, which was a big risk and a scary move. But I
Mhm.
found myself doing my own thing, first starting with consulting, then moving on into coaching, which is really a passion of mine. And through that, I came to write this book called Thrive and Shine. And I hope that message reaches more people than I can on just a one-on-one or one to a few basis. So I'm excited to talk about that with you today.
Absolutely. Now, the full title is Thrive and Shine, a practical guidebook for early stage professionals. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, now what inspired you to write Thrive and Shine?
It's funny. I had been collecting stories in my mind over years of me just being in the working world as a young woman myself, and then mentoring and coaching and managing a lot of younger, more junior staff along the way over the years. And then a couple of years ago, my partner's older daughter had recently graduated from college and asked me for some book recommendations as she was getting ready to enter into her first business job. And when I looked around, I found a lot of great resources online, but a lot of resources that were also very academic and research based and data driven. And I thought, this isn't the kind of book she's looking for. She's looking for just someone who's been there, done that, older, wiser friend kind of approach, real stories that are practical tips that she can apply right away. And when I saw a lack of that and a gap of that in the market, I said, oh, well, I have some experiences and I have some stories, and why don't I get cracking on this? So that's how it all started.
Okay, awesome. So can you define what it means to thrive?
Yes. We hear a lot about surviving, right? The survival guide to this and survival guide to that. And I
Right,
always thought, shouldn't we strive for more than just surviving? Like, isn't that the just
right.
bottom baseline layer? And I
Mhm.
thought, what does it really mean to thrive? I think it really taps into, do I find some level of joy and satisfaction in what I do? And is it connected to who I am authentically, the real me as a person? That doesn't mean we're happy with what we do 24/7. That's impossible. They
Right.
call it work for a reason. But if it's so far off of what you really love and who you know you are, and if it doesn't really tap into you as your person and what best serves you, then that is just surviving. And I think thriving is more about letting yourself fully show up, bringing all of yourself to the table, and tapping into your own potential and growth.
Okay, awesome. Now, why do you believe there's such a large gap between school and college education and actually being ready to take on the corporate world?
Yes. I actually had a stint in academia myself. I've taught at colleges, and I think as a short pat answer. When you're in school and you're dealing with academics, there is a grading system, which means there's always some level of right and wrong. There's a right answer, there's a wrong answer. There's the A grade, there's the F grade, and everything kind of in between. So you're really judged according to a scale that is objective and empirical and set by the academic system. When you get out into the real world, you find that, hey, one size doesn't fit all. There is no one grading system that is a guaranteed A. Of course, there are certain steps you can take that might position you better for quote unquote success, however you however way you define that. But for the most part, I think it's so daunting when you get there and you see so many different working styles, so many different personalities, and you're just looking for someone to tell you what to do. And
Right.
is this right? And sometimes there's no right answer for that. So that gap of, am I doing the right thing? Is this the A grade? And no, you just need to kind of figure it out as you go. It's a very hard transition for most people to make. And I think what ends up happening is a lot of people buy into the fake it till you make it, just do what everyone else seems to be doing and
Right.
you'll be fine. And then you keep going that way. And let's say you go that way for years, which is what I did. And it could seem like it's working for you because I kept getting promoted and I kept getting these interesting assignments and everything. And then you turn around and you're like, this isn't at all what I wanted to be doing. And now
Right.
I'm wearing this work uniform that doesn't even fit me anymore, and I think that's why I believe in starting off your first job, day one. Just don't forget who you are. Know that you got hired for a reason. And you were an A student, you can be an A worker. It's okay to ask questions, raise your hand, and figure it out as you go. That's totally fine. Don't feel like you have to show up looking perfect because there is no perfect.
Right, exactly. Okay, well, speaking of you, what kind of mistakes did you make as a beginner in the corporate world? Do you remember anything specific?
Oh, so many things. So many mistakes. Yeah, the hardest part of writing this book for me was which embarrassing story do I choose to illustrate this chapter? Because I have so many of them. And I think one of the big mistakes that I made for years was just comparing myself to others. The guy next to me just seemed to have it all together, or the woman on the other side of me just was a couple years ahead and seemed to have it all figured out. So I tried a lot of different, do I adopt a persona? Like, do I dress a certain way? Do I talk a certain way? Like,
Right.
do I act a certain way? And I was just playing that comparison game until I realized, like, hey, you're here for a reason. They hired you for a reason. So let's bring your own personality to the table. But it took me a long time to figure that out and not feel insecure. Like everyone else seems to have it figured out. And I'm just like, what do I do with this thing today? Like just feeling like, oh, everyone else has it figured out but me. And then later you realize, especially as you start moving up the corporate chain, that no one has it figured out. Not the
Right.
CEO, not the VP of whatever. Everyone's just kind of, making it up as you go along. And no matter what your job title is or what level you are at or how many days or years of experience you have, you still bring something really magical and valuable to the table. And it took me a long time to figure out that I needed to tap into that and really lean into what made me unique and different and valuable to the organization instead of, oh, well, that person is doing that. So I need to do that very same thing.
Right.
So I think not being in touch with myself and not really realizing my own value for what it was probably the biggest and longest mistake I made.
Right. Okay. So, who would you say that this book is for?
Yeah, this book is for everyone who feels like, here I am, and I don't know what I'm doing here. When you first get started, especially down a career, there are so many more questions than answers. Is this the right job for me? Is this the right company? Am I supposed to be here? Am I going to be here 5 years from now? I would say, put all that aside, focus on you. This book is for people who are not necessarily, I want my 10-year roadmap right now, but just, am I showing up the right way every day? Am I on the right track? Does this feel right? The people who need a little bit of guidance and maybe some examples and practical tips and tricks to bring that to their day to day while you're figuring it out as you go, I think this book will be helpful.
Okay. So, what did your writing process look like writing this book? Did you write from this time to this time every day, or did you write when you just felt like you had something to say?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. And because I'm a first-time author, this was my first book. By the way, I never thought I would write a book, just for the record. I'm sure you hear that from a lot of authors, but I was like, me write a book? I don't even know what that would look like. So in the beginning, I flailed around a lot and I had post-it notes, sticky notes everywhere. I was recording things on my voice memo app on my phone just when ideas would come.
Mhm.
And initially this book conceptually started out with the title Do As I Say, Not As I Did, because it was just a collection of my mistakes. That
Right.
was going to be my lesson learned. And then I found a publisher, and in talking to them, they were like, "Yeah, don't do that. That's actually a terrible idea." I was like, "Oh, okay." But the start was that it was really starting with my own personal stories. So
Mhm.
once I had collected enough of notes, audio notes, voice memo notes, post-it notes, my journal, then I started to sit down and put an outline together. Once I had the outline and kind of a framework for the book, I started scheduling time. And I said, okay, I'm going to schedule 3 hours every day. Whether or not I eat up all those 3 hours or eat up 30 minutes of it or 4 hours of it, I'm just going to put this time on the calendar to give myself some discipline to show up and
Right.
not procrastinate because I am a big procrastinator and I justify all my procrastinations with I'm just not ready. But actually putting some time on the calendar and seeing it, even if I didn't utilize the full block of time, really helped me a lot. And then once I got started in that routine, I realized I'm a very routine oriented person, and that helped me get more words on the page.
Okay. Awesome. Now, throughout this entire writing process, what would you say was the most rewarding moment for you?
The most rewarding moment was when I started telling people I was writing a book because I reached a point where I was about more than halfway done with my manuscript, and my publisher kept saying, "Don't keep your book your best kept secret. Like, what are you hiding this for?" And I was like, "I don't know if I'm a writer, you know." It was just, I don't know what I'm doing. And when I started telling people and they started saying, "Good for you. That's great. I love this idea. You can totally do it." And when I told my closest friends and family, "I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book." And they said, "Oh, that's great. We're here to support you. We know you can do it." That was really so encouraging. And I realized all those years, I mean, I have 25 years plus of experience in the working world and realizing, hey, all those stories actually mean something and I can put them to good use. It was just really rewarding and really satisfying just psychologically, even though I wasn't done with my manuscript at that time. So it was a series of little aha moments for me.
Wow, okay. Well, that is awesome. I know that we have a lot of you out there watching who are aspiring writers as well, and I hope that you can take note from everything that Julie has said today.
Right.
Thank you so much for sitting with me today and talking about your book. I believe that this book is going to help a lot of people, and it is a book that's needed right now. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you, Drew. This has been just really wonderful. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And those of you watching, if you'd like to pick up Julie's book, just click on the links below. We'll make sure we have that for you, and we will see you next time. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.